the Qualicum Beach Powerhouse was built to provide this luxury resource to the citizens in the area.
The powerhouse originally was built in 1927, and it was opened shortly thereafter. The first operator was a Francis Lindsay, who came over from Port Alberni to open this powerhouse. Before that time, power came as far as Craig's Crossing, and then a bit around here. Then they connected after the powerhouse was in operation. They were able to connect and give power to, I believe it was 180 residents in the area. There is records of who the original bricklayer was, and it was built on a similar plan, or actually the same plan, as a much larger one that had been in Port Alberni. And it is a steel structure with brick interfill, which is a Tudor method of building that they used in England years and years ago. The building was then owned by the BC Electric Company, and later became BC Hydro. And then it was just used as a storage shed for BC Hydro, and the power came from the John Hart Dam outside of Campbell River. Essentially what we did, we started in about the fall of '87, and we took some time to try and take a analysis of what was involved in restoring it, and what we thought would take in the way of labor, and what kind of materials we'd need, and so on and so forth. And we tried to put some estimates together so that we knew what we were undertaking. We also had to do that because we wanted to get funding from the Heritage Fund, which were one of the principal means by which we got the job done. After we did that, that took most of the fall, so we built a model, and it's outside there, you'll see it, and we put that around in various places in the town so that when we talked about restoring the building, they would understand what it was all about. So by the beginning of '88, no, I think it was in December of '87, we actually got started. And the first thing we did, we took down one of the old chimneys that was here. It had been added on, because if you restore a building, you have to essentially put it back the way it was. And that's part of the conditions in which you get the funds. And in our case here, what we had to restore was the exterior of the building. It didn't really matter what we did on the inside as long as we restored the exterior the way it was. So in any case, we started by taking down the chimney, and that was started in December. And there was quite a few extra openings and doors and things that had been put in the building, mainly in its latter years when it was owned by BC Hydro, because they used it as a garage. And those all had to be replaced and re-bricked, and the windows put back in the way they were, and so on. So we also had to put on a new roof. So anyway, that work proceeded with volunteer labor from, as I say, December '87 through the spring of '88, and we completed in June of '88. By that time, I think we had about between 600 and 700 hours of volunteer labor, and the total cost of the whole thing had been in the order of about 19,000, of which about 10 was raised by our own society, and the other 9 came essentially from the Heritage Fund.
Well, this engine that you see here is a Vivian diesel engine, and it's the only diesel engine that was ever built in British Columbia, and it was made for marine purposes originally, and they found out that they worked well for generating systems, so they used them for that. There's still a few of these engines still around in boats. BC Ferry, I believe, have 1 or 2 of them, and BC Hydro still has some in operation, but parts are getting hard to get, so. But
Okay, our curator here is a retired archivist, Hugh Taylor, and he is helping us to set up our archives, and we have now put in protective or acid-free storage for pictures and this type of thing. This is what he's doing for us, yeah. The plans for the future of the site have been to build a museum on this site just behind the wall here, and that were the original plans, yeah. And so we're working towards that. We'll have to still get our money in place, yeah.